All right, let's get started. First of all, can I get a note taker, please?
I can take notes. I just don't have the link. So if you could share that somewhere.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, I can check.
Sorry, it's been a little while since I joined, so just catching up here.
Oh, thanks for joining. Welcome back. All right. Thank you for volunteering. Notes from any of the RFC specific discussion can just go right on the RFC PRs, if that works for you. Thanks. All right. Next up, do we have any new faces today? Looking at everyone, I don't think we do. So I think we can move on. Welcome back, everyone. And then we can get right into looking into the outstanding RFCs. Okay, starting from the bottom, we have proposed additional JVMs in the Java build pack. I see that this is status blocked, and we had talked about this last week, but are there any other updates
Are you
here?
sharing your screen or?
Oh, wow. It's one of those days. Sorry about that, everyone.
That's all right.
Okay. That would be helpful, probably. Cool. All right. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Is there any updates on this one, Kevin, or anyone else?
Yeah, no, not really. We're still working on other RFCs and other discussion that have to be resolved first. So this one's still blocked.
Just a quick question. So do you want me to put a comment at the bottom of each of these RFCs, not in the document, right? Can't hear you, but I saw a nod. So yeah.
Yeah. Only if there's anything worth pointing out.
Okay.
If there's no update, then you can just leave it, but that works.
Cool. Yep. Sounds good.
Thank you. All right, next up, we have require a specific Java version in the build plan. Are there any updates from last week that we would want to discuss here?
I haven't really checked, but I don't think there are.
Cool. All right. Yeah, looks like we're waiting for some responses from Dan and other Java maintainers.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Next up, we have the composite draft branches RFC from David. Does anybody want to weigh in on this one? I know David is not here.
It's hard to say without David here, right? I'd be interested to get that merged and get the corresponding setup done, because I think that's what's blocking our PR for adding integration tests. But
yeah, so maybe just in the comments here, we can capture, look and ask from David about what the status of this PR is. Cool. Next up, we have selecting the next default Java version. I know we had discussed this one last week, but are there any other discussion points to talk about here?
I think I realized today that this is kind of in our quarter right now. Some pending responses that we got, and we might want to react. I think the main point is everyone agrees, right, that this should be done. And after that, immediate action should be taken to make 17 the default Java version following this RFC. I think the main point is the comment here with the 3 thumbs up that we should figure out how to develop a communication plan about that. So where should we actually send some prior notifications of careful, anyone still relying on Java 11 should now set it as explicitly requested JVM version, because the default will change, which will make this then a kind of like, I mean, it's probably still a major version bump following the somewhere rules, but won't break anyone who has read this prior notification and followed up. So I doubt that many people will do it because Spring Boot now requires Java 17, but some might still do. So I think that's maybe on us, or maybe between us, Daniel, to figure out what's the next step.
It's
But I
also
think
a major version bump in Spring Boot, wasn't it? So I don't know if
Yep.
people will adopt it that quickly. Might be some
Also true.
breaking changes as well. So
Also true.
But
So
the
I
older
mean,
Spring Boot
I
will work with 17, I guess. But yeah.
I fully agree that we should have something like 3 or 6 month prior notice about these kind of things, and should make this part of the RFC. So I'm fine with that.
Cool, thank you both. All right, I think we have one last RFC to discuss here. Proposal to create a Java specific builder. Anything new here or still working on it?
Well, still working on it, but it's kind of morphed to be a language specific builders instead of just the Java specific one that I created this one for. And I think that's a larger topic for this meeting.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, so that concludes the RFC section. We can continue on. First up, we have the CNB updates and questions. Does anybody have any CNB updates or anything that they're wondering about?
A pretty banal update. The CNB working group meeting that takes place on Thursday is now alternating its time slot. So if you are on the West Coast of the United States and it has been a pain for you to get up at, 7 o'clock in the morning to attend that meeting, they're alternating it now. So if that's been something that has been keeping you from going to the larger upstream working group meeting, then just want to let you all know that.
Sweet, thank you, Forrest. Anything else?
So I haven't joined for a little bit. I'm just wondering if there's any like traction on the ARM at all, if anyone has heard anything. I need to start joining those meetings too, but I've been kind of on a hiatus, so I'm getting back into it. I'll take that as no.
No, not really. There's been some kind of back channel conversations about some of the infrastructure needs, like figuring out where we can build ARM64 stuff infrastructurally, and how we can have those things paid for. Other than that, we're working on a 2023 roadmap blog post, and ARM support is like the #1 item voted for of all items in the roadmap. So it's definitely going to be kind of top of our list of things to start working on.
Thank you.
Good question. Anything else? Okay, we can move on to project updates. I see somebody has linked the 2022 recap. Would anybody like to speak to that item?
Yeah, it's just a blog post that we posted this morning, just talking through all the things that we got done as a community in 2022. It's a pretty good list. I'm pretty happy with what the project was able to get done this last year. But yeah, moving forward, we'll have a 2023 roadmap, and so we'll have a blog post related to that coming out hopefully very soon. It's just a matter of me finding time to write it up. But yeah, thanks to everyone in the community for all your contributions, for your feedback, support. All of those things were really great in 2022, and we're looking forward to an equally good, if not better, 2023.
Awesome. Thank you for putting that together. Are there any other project updates that aren't up here?
Question from my side. I just had to go from the computer, so maybe it was spoken about it. Is there already a blog on the way for the roadmap for this year?
I have one in a partially formed draft, but it's not complete. It's my goal is to get it out at some point this week. That's my goal. Not promising anything though, but we'll see about that. The only other update, I think, I can't remember, did we announce that Node.js went to 1.0? Yeah, Node.js Buildpack is now at a 1.0 release. We removed some of the features that had existed in the pre-1.0 phase, specifically buildpack.yaml support and the legacy SBOM support that was provided by the Node modules BOM Buildpack. Those things are now gone if you upgrade to the 1.0 version of Node.
Awesome.
Great to see the 1.0.
Yeah, that's great. Hopefully we can do the same in some of the other build packs eventually as well. Okay, and then we can move down to open mic questions and discussion topics. First up, we have language specific builders.
Yeah, so this is just going to link to a Slack thread between myself, Rob, and Dan Makuza. And it gets into, I think, what Kevin, you were talking about earlier in terms of the morphing idea behind language specific builders. Probably about 6 months ago, we started seeing intermittent failures from our builders when we would try and do things like add custom build packs on top of them, because we were reaching we were reaching a layer cap set by Docker of 127 layers per image. If you look into this, they talk about it. It's so that Docker is compatible with the widest ranges of machines, operating systems, etc. But it does mean that our full builder, and in some cases our base builder, is starting to hit that limit, even with just small additional build packs being added. At the time, I think that I proposed an RFC to basically get rid of builders in their current context, i.e. sort of have them all be the build packless builders that we currently support. I think there were some good reasons why that was kind of shut down, and we potentially started looking for other solutions, including going upstream. But this is starting to become, and we also did some things to mitigate it at the time, like trying to make sure we were increasing our release cycle for our build packs so that, you know, stale or multiple versions of any given build pack weren't in one builder. My understanding is that this is becoming a problem again. And so I think that, you know, without much movement and sort of having this all squashed for us upstream, it's looking like it might make more sense for us to go back to an older proposal, which is now, I guess, a new proposal again, which is that each language should be its own builder. And then on top of that, some of the stuff that's proposed in that thread is we still have like maybe one proto builder that is sort of a welcome to Paketo builder, use it as sort of a onboarding tool or as a sort of quick iteration or proof of concept. But I think we were talking realistically as we sort of shift the idea to sort of larger production mindsets. Less and less people actually want to have a builder with every single conceivable language that we support on it, and in fact want to have a more tailored experience. And the easiest way for us to do that without sort of building out a bunch of tooling that does customized build packs is to just sort of support each language in an a la carte fashion. So I guess I wanted to sort of bring that up as both the problem and also what we're thinking about as a solution. And I guess, Kevin, it sounds like you have modified your RFC to be less Java specific and more all language families.
Well, I haven't yet, but I think that's what that RFC is going to morph into. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, I guess I wanted to bring this up and see if there were, like, I guess, any questions, any concerns about that right off the bat. I think this is a model that has been used by other organizations. I think it's something that Google is doing right now, if I recall correctly. I think they do some pretty language specific builders. But yeah, I wanted to bring that up here, get feedback, let people know about it.
For what it's worth, we are actually producing a builder containing Java and Node, maybe adding more languages, but like actually specific to our use cases. So I'm not sure if that's a good model. And we reduced the number of component build packs, right? So as Java apps are mainly built with Maven, we only include Maven. We might add Gradle to it, but not add Liming and SBT and others if there's not very specific demand within SAP or a customer base to add those. So that's maybe our way to limit that. And on the plus side, it's just a single builder. You don't have to configure your CI/CD or what languages it is. On the other hand side, I'm pretty convinced a developer knows pretty much which language family the code base is in. If not, then maybe they don't need to build it. So probably that's a possibility, especially with the limit as low as 127, which is, yeah, nobody will ever need more than 640K of main memory, right? Never more than 127 layers. It sounds familiar.
Yeah, for sure. I think,
but nothing we can do much about it, right?
Mhm.
Washing build packs, I guess, has its own caveats and downsides.
Yeah, I think there are some caveats. I'm not intimately familiar with those. I think that it's something that's being discussed in the Cloud Native Build Packs community. I would be curious though, if not necessarily saying you would change your solution now, because it sounds like you have something that works for you, but would you have gone with just having like a Node.js and a Java builder and just be happy with using those instead of having to build out a custom builder? Or were you or did you really want to pare down the number of sort of even component build packs you supported to the smallest amount possible?
Is like in kind of the offering where we offer kind of some kind of support, we would exclude things like build tools that we don't even know about if anyone uses it, because the first user coming up in our context usually means like we will support it for the next 10 years at least, right? For one user. So probably we would build that. And the other angle of that is we also slightly increased the tiny stack, for example. So we have added like 4 packages to it, including a shell to support some node cases and others. So I guess we are anyway on that road of having something very customized there.
Okay.
Yeah, I can comment. I mean, like, I'm not actually using the Paketo builders for a lot of the things I've been working on. And I have found that I've made the builder as universal as possible, but because, you know, if you're running different language families, it just gets bigger and bigger. You know, Python requires a lot more than Go. And then you have to deal with vulnerabilities in one app that don't even affect you. So I actually really do like the idea of language specific builders. I mean, if you've got like your starter builder and then you just build on top of that, you know, you don't have to make too many different things. So, you know, in my opinion, it's actually a pretty good idea.
In a limited fashion, I think we have that. I wonder if anyone is using the full builder to create Java apps because of the CVE surface. That's just one example. It's so unnecessarily filled with, and I wouldn't probably worry very much about the resulting image size, but rather really the kind of number of packages on top. So I guess it's like maybe not everyone would run it with Tiny because lack of bash and then some workarounds, right? Starting Tomcat not with a Catalina script, but with a Go re-implementation that might be partial. So maybe it's base where they align on. For us, it's actually Tiny plus plus, just a little additions to have it run that way. So yeah, I agree. I guess the full builder will be used for maybe Ruby and PHP apps, but I doubt that many people use it for Java or Go or whatever. So there are probably quite a lot of languages on the full builder that nobody uses on the full builder, unless it's a very first experience, right? I mean, if I just try that out, I might go for the full builder. Might be a good default offering, so to say, right? You can just call pack build with a Paketo full builder, and no matter what language you're using, if we have support for it, you'll be covered. But that's really just as a I'm trying this out experience, and later you'll go for something else. Pretty yeah. I guess that's a natural step then.
For sure. I think that you brought up a potentially interesting side idea, because I think that what this is sort of maybe proposing is like the current stacks in the same stripe, but each one with a different language. But I mean, I don't want to say anything, but it almost sounds like potentially like if it is supported on base and supported on Tiny, maybe you have, a Tiny base builder, a Tiny base builder, Tiny base builder. If it works on base and full, maybe just have base, and if it works on just on full, then just have full. But yeah, it's potentially an interesting idea. I hadn't really thought about it, but I also feel like that's something that is probably prescribing a bit ahead of time.
I'm currently thinking about if we should either propose or work around the current situation and add multiple run images to stack. Like best would be in the upstream specification. So you could actually have a jammy builder. They like base and Tiny actually share the same build image. A jammy builder or jammy stack, and then have different run images. And you can choose one, and you can already do it as a user, as Pack and other platforms support setting the run image. But making this a first class citizen, the only thing I'm hesitating is it kind of conflicts a bit in the goals you can reach with it, with the extension stack. Because you could reach the same with that, right? Just having a run image that has basically nothing and use extensions for making bigger run images without changing what a stack is. But I interrupted Philip, I think.
Yeah. So maybe back to the language specific builders. So I also see some upsides there. Is it only about the download size, right? If you're not on fiber optics, it's quite nice if it just downloads like half a gigabyte instead of 3. Yeah. So, but maybe we could see, are there any downsides to this? I guess the one is it would be an overhead on the Paketo side, right? We would need to build more stuff, and of course it's something else at the status quo, so we would need to invest development time to do that change. Maybe someone can think of.
I think it changes existing build processes as well. If we're no longer releasing builders in their current state, anyone who's like using the base builder to push a bunch of apps now has to find, I guess, a solution to either figure out what builder to use, or has to build out different pipelines to use different builders and send different apps there, or
so it's a breaking change basically, right? Yeah, for the users.
Assuming
if we continue
yeah.
the old ones.
All right, thank you all for the discussion. It seems like there are a lot of different ideas. And it sounds like Kevin is taking the initiative to transform the existing RFC into a non-Java specific RFC so that we can, talk about this on the project level.
I will do that.
Thank you. Are there any other comments on this topic? Okay, and then are there any other questions or discussion topics? Alrighty, I'm not hearing any. So I think that concludes our working group meeting for today. Thank you everyone for joining. See you next week.
See you. Bye.
You.
All right.